Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya, and today the world marks World AIDS Day, and here at GMK we definitely are not going to be left out. Today we dedicate this particular day to the disease, or as my guests in studio have told us, it is not a disease, it's a condition. I'm sure they'll be here to tell us more and more regarding this particular condition, as they call it. I have Evelyn Simaloi and Juliana Odindo, Juliana is from the Young People Born and Living with HIV, and Evelyn is a social media activist and a freelance journalist. Thank you so much. Na karibuni kwenye studio.
Thank you.
Both of you are actually living with HIV.
Yes.
Let's start with you. Tell me about it and walk me through the Young People Born and Living with HIV initiative.
For the young people born and living with HIV, it's quite a challenge for us because we were a forgotten generation, and it's just now that the world is trying to take care and look at us differently and try and take care of our needs today. Yeah, so it has been difficult and a struggle for us. Now
sorry to cut you short, but how was the organization formed?
It's not an organization. I am representative of young people born and living with HIV and the National Empowerment Network of people living with HIV in Kenya.
Let's talk about Evelyn. HIV, and I want to quote some statistics. Kenya has the 4th largest HIV epidemic in the world. Yeah, in 2012, an estimated 1.6 million were living with HIV, and roughly 57,000 people died from the AIDS-related illness. What are some of the initiatives that the government can put up to really slow down or actually cut the spread of HIV, Evelyn?
Okay, having lived with HIV for 16 years.
16 years?
16 years. I will start with saying at the very beginning, back in 1998 when I was diagnosed, it was a death sentence. I was even given 5 years to live by the doctor who diagnosed me. And at that time there was no medication. And when medication came, still, again, it was very expensive. So usually what would happen is you test positive, you wait for death.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to today, very big milestones have taken place because now we have access to medication, to treatment. But it would be so important or so good if we at least have a way of mobilizing people, normalizing testing. Let people know that testing is something so important for your own benefit, and then if they know, then they find out they have the virus. It is easier managed that way because you straight on get onto treatment where you will be put on ARV at the time when the time comes, and you will have controlled spreading the virus or transmitting.
Juliana?
Yes.
You're a young person living with HIV. How did you get, if I may ask, the disease?
I was born with HIV 23 years ago, and I lost both my parents when I was 3 to HIV. And from there, I was diagnosed at the later stage of AIDS when I was 11, when I was now very sick. And I can say with all
At 11 is when you realized they realized you had the disease?
Yes. Most of the time that I used to go to be admitted at the hospital, my brother was just treating the opportunistic infections. So it was at 11 that it was very bad and unmanageable, and I had so much to deal with. Then I was tested and put on medication immediately as I had the CD4 of 4 only.
CD4 of 4, that's pretty low.
It was very low.
What is high? What is a high healthy CD4 count?
Today it's 500.
It's 500.
But initially the initial WHO guidelines used to be 350. Yeah.
You talk about you finding out at 11 years old. By then you had lost your parents.
Yes.
Did you know that this is the same disease, or rather the same condition, as Evelyn rightfully puts it? Did you know it was the same condition that had taken your parents?
It was just as I got to learn more about HIV that I got to know, because of what they say they presented when they were dying, how they died. Because also we have pictures, we have we see those kinds of things. So they also died, I can say, at a very later stage of AIDS because that time medication stigma, testing was not very accessible, and because of stigma also people did not access those services.
Here you are 11 years old and you're diagnosed with a disease, or rather a condition that everybody thinks, like she rightfully put it, used to be a death sentence. How did you overcome all that? And you know, that is, you're a teenager at that particular point, you're going to school. How did you go through all that?
I had support from different people, including people from National Empowerment Network of people living with HIV. I had support from the clinicians, the hospital, that is Nyanza Provincial General Hospital, currently Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital. They really treated me well and took me through the process. And I was very happy because when I started, the medication really worked well for me. The ARVs didn't even, I didn't even have the side effects that most of people have. And so I started healing. I had like wounds all over my body that today are just spots, and TB, and I also had herpes. I also had meningitis at the time.
Wow, that's a lot for a young girl.
Yeah, so when I started taking ARVs, they kind of worked well. These things started going away slowly, and I started feeling very well, and I didn't visit the hospital so frequently. And so I was very happy with the medication.
I applaud your spirit. You're such a beautiful young person. And I was telling Evelyn earlier, it's not written on your face. So hence the need to have it tested, mapema, especially because beautiful ladies you are, and we look alike. Would you tell? In fact, I think the biggest problem is ignorance. Kama hujui status yako, that's actually where the problem is. Evelyn, you're trained she talked about some of these infections that come along, opportunistic diseases actually, that come along with HIV and AIDS. And you've been trained to talk to people and give information regarding HIV and AIDS. Tell me about some of these opportunistic infections, and tell me, when you travel these 47 counties of ours, what are some of the myths or practices people have regarding HIV and AIDS?
Okay, I will start with the opportunistic infections that are there that people need to be aware about. I also I suffered TB. I also got cryptococcal meningitis. I also got pneumonia. All these were signs and symptoms that were showing in my body that I needed to get on medication. My CD4 count was not as low, but it was also at 54 by the time I was with cryptococcal and totally ill, paralyzed on one side, and still I feared going on ARV because of the myths and misconceptions that we had. Like, for example, people would say, if you start these ARVs, you're going to die immediately, or you're going to get even worse, especially if you start at a low CD4 count. People say you're going to diarrhea, you're going to vomit, you're going to get spots all over your body. There's so many all over, everywhere you go, and especially on social media, which is where I mostly advocate, and I'm an activist there as well. There's all this misconception, and you know, how do you go and take your medication in public? People will notice, people, you know, all these thoughts around it. So I feared going on medication for 12 years. I was in super denial, refusing to get on medication.
You knew you had the disease, and for 12 years did not take the medication?
Yes, even when I needed to, I still did not. I used to go for my treatment. I used to go
for treatment for what? For the opportunistic diseases?
Yes, if I got and like tuberculosis.
Ignore ARVs?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
ARVs is what I used to totally not, I wasn't for it at all until I got to my very lowest point. And also, I had even, there was faith healing. Also, is another, I would call it a misconception, because much as we do believe in God, and we know God is a healer, but doctors have the cure. Jesus or God will heal us in our heart, right? Like, I know I'm healed deep inside, but the cure for HIV is not yet here. So we had even a herbal doctor somewhere in Molo who also claimed to have the cure to HIV, to AIDS, and I went and took that concussion for 30 days and, you know, waiting to see if I'll go test negative. But when this doctor saying, no, you know what, don't go testing, let's make money, this is a good business, people will come for it, I saw that was a wrong path. People also have this belief of herbal medication will do better, God will heal us. I believed in God. I still got HIV. I took the herbs, the concussion. I still have HIV. But ARV, the moment I started, I used to have molluscum on my face. I was all like pimples, like warts all over my face. It's now all cleared out. I was so wasted. I was so thin. I was so finished. And now I'm back to healthy. All this is because of the ARVs. What happens when you test positive for HIV? It means you have a virus. You have the virus, the HIV virus, in your blood system. And this HIV virus is out to destroy your CD4 cells. These are the immunity cells in your body, the ones that protect you from diseases. Yes, from sickness. So the moment they start eating up these CD4 cells, you see they minimize. And the virus grows much bigger, gets on to a very higher level. Then naturally you will get sick. You'll get sick. Very sick, very wasted, and all that. So what
here
happens?
Comes ARVs that are meant to help you fight these particular diseases.
Because what they do, they will go and push down, suppress the HIV to a minimal level and give the CD4 a chance to grow. That is health.
That's fantastic. I'm told our time is up, unfortunately, because today we have so many visitors here who are going to tell us more about HIV. But it's been quite enlightening. And one thing I will take from Evelyn is that this is not a condition. This is not a disease, it's a condition that if you live with it positively, you live a very, very full life.
And mothers who are positive can have HIV-free children. I do.
You do?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so, so much for creating time to be with us. Unfortunately, our time is up. We hope to have you again to tell us more and more because I think we had so much to share. I'm told in code 254 today we want to talk about the role of the media in putting forward information regarding the HIV and AIDS pandemic. Stay tuned to Good Morning Kenya.